Did you ever stop to think how some of the most exciting trends from the 90s could have been downright dangerous? From wild backyard games to iconic fashion accessories, we embraced it all without a second thought. But behind the fun and freedom of the 90s, there were hidden risks that turned laughter into ER visits. In this video, we're diving into the 10 trends that made growing up in the 90s unforgettable, but not always in a good way. Ready to uncover the risks we didn't see coming? Let's get started. Kicking off the list, we have one of the most dangerous yet popular outdoor activities of the 90s. Lawn darts. Also known as jarts, these heavy, sharp darts were a backyard favorite, often seen during school field days or family gatherings. But behind the fun and competition, there was a serious risk. Have you ever had a close call with a lawn dart? Maybe a near miss or a painful accident? What made these simple toys so dangerous was their design. With sharp metal and plastic tips, lawn darts could easily cause serious injuries, ranging from stab wounds to eye damage. Tragically, there were even fatalities. It wasn't long before the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission banned them in the 90s after multiple reports of accidents. In 1997, the ban was reinforced, urging families to throw out their lawn darts for good. Looking back, this trend serves as a reminder that some of the most popular toys and games can be hiding real dangers. But it wasn't just outdoor games that got kids into trouble in the 90s. The next trend was a playground phenomenon that didn't involve sharp objects, but it sure led to plenty of chaos. Enter the world of Pogs. Inspired by a traditional Hawaiian game, Pogs were small, round cardboard discs that quickly became a massive craze. The objective was simple: use a heavier disc, the slammer, to knock over a stack of Pogs. But as the game gained popularity, the competition became fierce and not always friendly. The slammers, made from plastic, rubber, or metal, grew larger and heavier, escalating the game's intensity. The real danger, however, came from the heated arguments and physical fights over rare Pogs. As kids vied for the most coveted discs, some even resorted to violence, leading several schools to ban the game entirely. While Pogs might have been fun, they also caused a whirlwind of trouble that parents and teachers couldn't ignore. Let's pause for a moment. Do you still have any of your old Pogs stashed away somewhere? Which one was your favorite? Now, let's talk about another 90s trend that seemed too good to be true: the iconic Heelys. Remember those roller shoes that let you glide along the sidewalk or zip through school hallways? While they were the ultimate cool factor for kids, they also came with a hefty price: the risk of injury. How many times did you scrape your knees or take a tumble while trying to look effortlessly cool? The problem with Heelys wasn't just the excitement of rolling around, it was the lack of proper safety precautions. Without the right gear, kids often ended up with skinned knees, sprained ankles, and even fractured bones. In fact, research by the American Academy of Pediatrics revealed that more than 30% of Heelys-related injuries were to the upper body, including the wrist, elbow, and shoulder. It wasn't long before many schools started banning Heelys, worried that students might speed off uncontrollably and hurt themselves or others. Now, the good times may have come with a few bumps and bruises, but that's what made them unforgettable. Next up, we have a trend that sparked serious controversy in the 90s: the obsession with toy weapons. Kids in the 90s loved their toy guns, but the problem was that many of these toys looked alarmingly realistic. While they might have seemed harmless at first, the consequences were anything but. The issue with toy weapons actually started in the 60s, but it wasn't until the 90s that it really escalated. As incidents involving realistic-looking toy guns increased, panic and concern grew. In response, laws were introduced to make these toys safer, including the requirement for bright orange tips to distinguish them from real firearms. Still, the lifelike appearance of many of these toys made it hard to draw clear lines between play and danger. Do you remember a time when you or someone you knew got into trouble with toy guns? Maybe a misunderstanding or a close call with the law. Share your story with us. Now, moving from toy weapons to backyard play, another trend that seemed innocent at first but carried serious risks was the trampoline. In the 1990s, trampolines were everywhere, filling backyards with laughter as kids spent hours jumping and attempting new tricks. Do you remember the thrill of bouncing high into the air, trying to land the perfect flip? But while trampolines promised hours of fun, they also came with a major danger if proper safety precautions weren't in place. Whether it was a backyard trampoline or one of the new commercial trampoline parks popping up in the 90s, many lacked the necessary safety features like padding and safety nets, which only increased the risk of injury. Mishaps like sprained ankles, head injuries, and fractures became all too common. In fact, the Consumer Product Safety Commission reported a staggering 83,400 trampoline-related injuries treated in emergency rooms in 1996 alone. What seemed like harmless fun quickly turned into one of the most dangerous trends of the decade. And speaking of playgrounds and backyard games, who could forget another classic, the merry-go-round? Another playground staple, the merry-go-round, was a favorite for many kids in the 90s. While it provided endless fun, it also came with significant risks. As children clung to the bars and spun as fast as possible, the rapid speeds often led to disastrous falls. Kids were regularly tossed off, causing injuries that ranged from sprained ankles to more serious internal injuries and fractures. The danger became so widespread that over time, many schools decided to remove these high-speed rides from playgrounds entirely. What seemed like innocent fun turned out to be one of the most hazardous playground features of the 90s. But do you think we've covered all the dangerous 90s trends yet? I hope not, because we've got more. From merry-go-rounds to another childhood classic, the game of tag was a staple of 90s playground fun. Whether it was the basic version or variations like freeze tag and TV tag, this game got everyone running and laughing. But with all that speed and excitement came unexpected risks. Children often ran head-on into obstacles or collided with one another, turning what seemed like innocent fun into potential trips to the doctor. By the late 1990s, surveys from primary schools revealed that tag-related injuries were one of the most common causes of playground accidents. Twisted ankles, broken wrists, and even head injuries became all too familiar outcomes of this competitive game. In response, some schools implemented rules to tone down the intensity and make the game safer. But what about you? Do you have a memory of a tag game that got a little too competitive? Maybe a close call or a big tumble? Let us know as we move on to number 8. Who could possibly forget about the colorful hair dye trend? The 1990s were all about self-expression, and nothing screamed individuality more than bold, vibrant hair dye. Kids and teens embraced bright and striking tones to stand out, but beneath those dazzling colors lay hidden dangers. Many of these dyes contained harsh chemicals like ammonia and peroxide, which could wreak havoc on young, sensitive scalps. Allergic reactions, chemical burns, and irritated skin became common consequences for those who sought to experiment with their hair. While the colorful looks turned heads, the health risks were often overlooked in the quest for uniqueness. It was a trend that brought both style and surprising hazards to the forefront of 90s culture. But speaking of trends that took the 90s by storm, who could forget the craze of slap bracelets? No 90s accessory was more iconic than the slap bracelet. These colorful, playful bands were a staple in classrooms and playgrounds alike, doubling as both a fashion statement and a toy. With a simple flick of the wrist, the straight band would snap around and hug your arm with a satisfying slap. Affordable and endlessly fun, they quickly became a must-have item, retailing for just $2.50 in 1990. But beneath the vibrant fabric lay a hidden danger. The thin metallic strip that made the bracelet snap occasionally broke through its covering, causing cuts and injuries. As complaints and incidents grew, many schools banned slap bracelets altogether, transforming this harmless-looking trend into a surprising safety concern. But before we move on, how many slap bracelets did you own? Did your school ban them, or do you have a story of someone getting hurt by one? Share your memories as we move on to our final dangerous trend. Stretch Armstrong was the ultimate test of strength and curiosity for 90s kids. This iconic toy, with its stretchy limbs and resilient body, could be pulled, twisted, and stretched far beyond its original 15-inch size, all thanks to a unique gel made from boiling corn syrup and its flexible rubber latex skin. No matter how much you tested its limits, Stretch always snapped back to his original form, sparking endless fascination. However, behind the stretchy fun lurked hidden dangers. When damaged, the gel inside became a breeding ground for germs and mold, posing health risks for kids who came into contact with it. Additionally, the latex skin and the gel material could irritate sensitive skin, leading to safety concerns that weren't widely known at the time. Despite these risks, Stretch Armstrong remains a symbol of the creative, yet occasionally hazardous trends of the 90s. It's amazing to explore how the trends that we enjoyed as children often came with hazards that we were not completely aware of at the time. But that's what makes the past so fascinating, seeing how much we've changed and evolved. Which of these trends do you recall most clearly, and did you ever encounter any of the dangers directly? Please feel free to leave your answers in the comments below. Till next time, see you soon.